One night, a falling star gently fell onto Earth and into a white home. "What happened?" said a man, and multiple people came to investigate the situation. But what they came to find was a little boy sleeping on a fluffy star. Amazed at the sight of a star boy, the man took him as his own. He named the boy Lunar, which means the moon, which sleeps amongst the stars. Lunar had a lot of attention growing up. Despite his dad being really busy, he always made time for Lunar, and when he couldn't, others would shower him with affection. He had a really big yard where he could run around and play, and no one ever told him what he couldn't do. At school, the teachers always paid special attention to him, and he had a ton of friends. "I must be really special, maybe even the most important person," Lunar thought. One day, Lunar and his dad eventually moved out of the white home. His father says that his term is over and now they have to leave so the next president can move in. Lunar didn't really understand what a president was or why they had to move, but regardless, Lunar and his dad moved to a small town to live a humble life. Despite still being well-liked, Lunar and his dad didn't get as much help anymore. While for the first few years, people helped them settle into the neighborhood, the help dwindled until visits became a rarity and Lunar grew older. Despite being more isolated, Lunar's dad was sometimes needed and would leave the house over periods and leave Lunar with a nanny. Lunar became more and more frustrated with other people because they didn't do what he wanted. Lunar became old enough to attend public high school. He was excited to finally go to school because he loved having school friends and attention from teachers. When he got there, people didn't treat him as if he was special. Students had their own friend groups and teachers didn't give him special treatment. One day, a young girl sat with Lunar at lunch, seeing that he was lonely. She offered him half of her sandwich as a kind gesture. Lunar scoffed. "Oh, why is this sandwich still have crust on it? Do you think I would eat something like that?" Lunar's condescending comments and attitude made the young girl cry, and she ran back to her friends, who glared at him and left him alone. Now no one ever approached Lunar. Due to his loneliness, Lunar joined a group of bad influences. They would skip school often and play pranks throughout the neighborhood. For a while, Lunar's dad assumed he has gotten good friends due to him always being out late, but he noticed Lunar's attitude to become more and more distasteful. One day, Lunar's dad, when cleaning the house, found some cigarettes in Lunar's room. He wanted to discuss to Lunar about the dangers of smoking. Later that night, Lunar came home late once again and saw his father waiting for him on the couch. Lunar's father said, "Son, have you been smoking?" This caught Lunar off guard and he quickly became red from embarrassment. "Why are you looking through my stuff? Stop being so involved in my life," Lunar screams. This made his father sad and commanded Lunar to go to his room. Lunar, thinking nobody loves him anymore, decides to run away and he escapes out of the window of his room. Later in the night, Lunar went to the fast food restaurant to stay for the night since he had nowhere else to go and knew the restaurant was open. There was the girl whom he insulted earlier about her sandwich back when they first began high school. He got upset again since he ignorantly thought that she was the reason why everyone didn't want to be friends with him. So he walked up to the counter, but before he could speak, the girl said, "Hi, this is Julia. May I take your order?" She smiles at Lunar, waiting for his reply. Lunar was surprised. He didn't come with money and he realized that his anger was not right. So without speaking up, he walked away and sat in the corner booth of the restaurant. After hours went by, Lunar reflected on his life, about the girl and his father, and even his failing academics. "My whole life I thought I was the only special person, but I'm not. Maybe I've been wrong about people all along." Lunar musters up the courage to take his first steps to improve. He walks up to the counter where Julia is surprised that he returned. "I'm sorry," says Lunar. Julia smiles and offers to talk after her shift, which ends soon, which Lunar accepts. They go to take a walk and Julia asks Lunar why is he out so late. He started his reply with what happened between him and his father, but then eventually told her everything that happened since he came to school. Julia listened to Lunar as he verbally spoke his emotions for the first time. "I don't know if my dad knows how much I love and appreciate him." Julia spoke about how she was just reading about this in the library. She said love is primarily giving than receiving. If you want to love your father, you should perform actions to show your appreciation. Love isn't a feeling you have, but a verb you do. Lunar replies, "But I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start or if I'm even good at it." Julia clarifies, "No one is naturally good at love. Some may argue that you might even need to experience loneliness first and grow older before you can truly appreciate it. But the author I read said that luckily love is a practice and is something that can be worked on." Julia convinces Lunar that he should return home and that she'll be here whenever he needs her support. So Lunar returns home, and when he sees his father, he hugs him, apologizing for the words he said. Now Lunar, instead of hanging out with bad influences, heads to the restaurant multiple times a week and walks with Julia after she gets off of work. It turns out that Julia is very smart. However, she needs to work despite being a student due to financial reasons. Since she is always busy, she can't hang out with friends who typically invite her to after-school activities. She appreciates Lunar for being a good person, for always being able to have walks with her after work. Julia helps Lunar mend his relationships throughout his life. Lunar learns about love languages, where Lunar realizes that there is more than just saying words. They found out his father's love language is quality time, which is the same as Julia's. Because of this, Julia was able to give a lot of ideas for Lunar to do with his dad, such as watching the baseball game or cooking. By the end of the school year, Lunar and his father formed a bucket list to do in the summer, which was an idea from Julia. They decided to pick one randomly. Lunar closes his eyes and points at visit the White House. Lunar's dad said he'll call to see if they can make an arrangement. As Lunar's dad walks towards his phone, Lunar abruptly asked, "Can my friend Julia come? She really enjoys reading about US history and I think she would like visiting the White House." Lunar's father smiles at Lunar and says of course. After realizing what just happened, Lunar blushes and gets excited for his trip to his first home. The end. Thank you for watching Tate Kim and Joseph Huang's animation of Love Actually.